Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another exciting Propagandacast with me, your host, ImperialDane, ready for you with another episode of delicious high something propaganda. It's going to be a 1 versus 1 on Beaux Lowlands. Yes, indeed, the Lowlands is where we shall be taking our next little trip. And who shall be doing the fighting? Well, let's go have a look. Here in the southern corner we are seeing the Thebegga, yes indeed, the Thebegga fighting for the 31st Infantry Division, and let's just imagine this is somewhere in the Ardennes, just less snowy, the Hürtgen forest, and who shall be opposing this fiend? It shall be that handsome devil, ImperialDane, fighting in this case with the 15th Panzer Grenadier Division, which did take part in the whole Ardennes fighting, Unternehmen Herbstnebel, which was actually sort of the actual smoke sort of name for it. Operation Wacht am Rhein was sort of the name for the whole deception plan of sort of the whole preparation, but the actual battle was Herbstnebel. Fun little fact there. In fact, let's get right down to it. Let's get to the fighting. 2 pioneers underway. Most exciting indeed. Yes, already you can already sort of feel the palpable excitement, I'm sure. Engineers heading westwards, when in fact seeing no attempt at a barrack so far from Mr. Thebegga. Or is he? Does he have something? Yes, indeed, he's building it right at the edge, the utmost edge. Also, fun fact about this fight, the victory didn't actually count somewhere during the fight. The server disconnected, which rather meant I wouldn't get anything out of it. Tragically. But there you go, you can't have everything. It was a bit more worse though when I had won against a rank 16 Wehrmacht player as my British player, my British profile, and then I lost. Oh well, I won and then I didn't get counted, never mind. A bit tired now, been a long day, and company first service of course after some maintenance problems rather went online again a bit late. But I'm now just tired a bit. But we are seeing the barracks up, engineers going straight for the strategic point, others sitting there. Me sort of slightly popping off there, although again it's going to fall in with this slightly larger overall strategy of again sort of trying to establish a defensive line along this river and then sort of then making some assaults in towards the other part, but not before again this part is reasonably secure. That's a rather valuable point. Pioneers all sort of getting ready there, false grenadiers sitting there. This is the sort of usual thing. Usually I will use the pioneers to sort of sneak up here, secure these munitions points, then use this small road up here towards the victory point and then secure that. And of course, as usual, most players, and again, that's rather what I fancy about this map. Again, it's a bit of a tricky one strategically, but again, a lot of will just sort of try to fight over here. And of course, I can usually pick some off with my false grenadiers again if they don't commit fully. In this case, the rifle, in fact, committing fully to the entire western half, and that's just great for me because why? Because again, I'm not really going to sending a lot over there so far. But let's back to the actual fighting. False grenadiers catch some. Engineers out in the open, and the 15th Panzer Grenadier Division had originally been fighting in Italy, but had moved over to sort of France or the Ardennes, fighting there in preparation. It had in fact originally been a Panzer Division, but after having fought in North Africa, taking heavy losses, it was only reconstituted as a Panzer Grenadier Division. There was also a 2nd Panzer Grenadier Division fighting in the Ardennes, and that was also one of the few actual sort of here Panzer Grenadier divisions which actually fought on the Western Front 1944 to 1945. Otherwise, for the large part, it was pretty much only the 17th SS as the only Panzer Grenadier division. Quite interestingly enough. But Volkswagen is doing a bit of hunting there. A bit of sandbags, of course, not a bad idea. Provides a bit of cover where there is none, thus giving a slight advantage. So good move there. Pioneers securing what they can. Our American friend pulling back a bit. More riflemen securing swiftly what they can here in the west. He's getting certainly no rest there. And I'm of course trying to secure as much as I can over here. No point in slacking off. MG42 on the way. This is good. Volkswagen could also be laying down a bit of barbed wire, so this isn't quite as easy to attack. But MG42 moving in. In this case I'll probably move in here to protect this southern area. But it looks like our American friend is preparing for one great assault. He's sort of lining up troops for something here, and I'm obviously, as you might have noticed, not quite prepared. Laying down mines though. Laying down a bit of barbed wire here and there to sort of make move there. In fact, I am sort of preparing just in case, but as you might have noticed, he's sneaking in riflemen from the north as well, and he's sort of making a huge throng towards the center. Lots of engineers in that one. And I don't have an MG42, although I'm going for a second MG42, and that's a slightly different sort of build load I'm trying out with. Sort of dual MG42s after the first two Volksgrenadiers, and then a third Volksgrenadier team, and there we go. Charging in, flamethrowers ready, Volksgrenadiers in a bit of trouble. Whatever shall they do? Pioneers flying in as well, MG42 moving in. Volksgrenadiers pulling away, but not completely, and the engineer team in fact gets cut down on the retreat. Volksgrenadiers move up behind the barbed wire, more Volksgrenadiers move in. Volksgrenadiers taking quite a bit, in fact, only down to one man. Volksgrenadier also take one loss. Now, of course, he is focusing all of his forces there. He's basically just making one horde assault, but the MG42 is there to save the day. Second MG42 moves in, but in this case, it's actually sort of mismaneuvers. Bit unfortunate, I hadn't quite counted on that, and that MG42 will need to get out of there swiftly. But this one keeps firing, and the riflemen are pinned down. Second MG42 makes it out of there. First engagement right here did not quite go well, but I sort of held things. Second rifleman team running into the MG42 as well there, and the Americans are continuing up here, firing a bit away at some random pieces of sandbag. And there we go, third Volksgrenadier team ready, while the rest are reinforcing, refitting, re-kitting, and re-something else. And the riflemen keep running into that MG42, don't you? Stop doing that, Johnny! But it's so pretty, Sarge. You're not a moth. Oh, right. But getting ready to counterattack. Also note again the sort of Wehrmacht quarters in this case rather placed again to sort of the point where I actually want to focus again. The eastern side of the map. Again, sort of small details like that can make a huge difference, in particular when the base area is actually really large. Pioneers caught in a bit of a slight jiffy there, trying to get some flamethrowers, but it's a bit too late. It is too late. But Volksgrenadiers and MG42 moving in for the counter-attack. BARs had already been equipped for the Thebegga. He's getting pretty aggressive himself. And someone screaming that they are doomed. Oh, I do love those voice actors. I know some people prefer the actual German voice actors, but I actually prefer these ones since I do believe they're better actors. That's at least my opinion, although I think some of them are actually the same, but I don't know. There's just some more nuances I think that get so in the English variants with the German accents silly enough. There we go, and these riflemen could in fact end up getting caught down on the retreat. MG fire, Volksgrenadiers, and what will happen? Will they make it out of there alive? Oh dear, looks like poor Johnny just barely makes it, but more riflemen are there. Sneaking about, and some engineers. What do I do? Of course, there's about another nice bit of sandbags right there, which does make it a bit easier to in fact cross this rather perilously open land strip there. One rifleman does bite the dust, more moving in here. And of course, he's perhaps not quite aware that he ought to be aware, but he's perhaps not quite aware that I haven't moved this one. In fact, stopping this rifleman team right there, gunning one down. Rifleman trying to get out of there. I'm rather sensing this, so of course I'm desperately trying to catch him, sending all what I can, sort of spare over there, and most of my Volksgrenadiers are here. And this could in fact end up with the rifleman going down, engineer down, rifleman stop there, and will they get him? Yes! Jolly good marksmanship there, man. So a bit of a slight fight there, of course. Usually a nice idea to sort of try and move in some men into a retreat path of a rather viciously wounded unit can make quite the difference. MG42 moving in to provide cover there. Kampfkraft sent up, and Kampfkraft sent and a Kriegbarracks. I do miss those two a bit. But in this case, I rather figure I might as well go for the advantage. I'm rather feeling I'm doing actually pretty well, so I might as well sort of not sort of delay in trying to sort of hold my advantage here. Volksgrenadiers slightly pulling back, MG42 turning about. Although at the same time I want to be careful they don't try to sneak in from the flank then. MG42 in this case, there we go, opening up, but the riflemen are a bit too fast, too quickly out. Veterans 1 up though, which does increase the accuracy, and it also decreases the reload time.
Americans are seizing territory from us.
No doctrine as of yet from me. The Thebegga pushing on here in the west, and the Kriegbarracks up at the same time, of course, with the BRs on it. Again, let's just briefly pause. I mean, I did go for a bit of a gamble, you know, 3 Volksgrenadiers and 2 MG42, and considering he only has 3 rifleman teams. Well, does he have more? Well, he does have more, plus I killed 1. But still, I mean, that's a bit of a gamble considering some things. I mean, if he'd gone for the M8 rush, I might be in what we call a lot of trouble. But again, I rather, took the gamble. I rather figure, well, usually they go for a lot of riflemen. I might as well push the advantage that way and then sort of hope to sort of gain some ground in case he does go for the M8 and then sort of try to at least delay it that way. But that is the sort of problem as the Wehrmacht. I mean, if he goes for the BARs and you're not prepared, you could be in a lot of trouble. If he goes for the M8 fast and you're not quite prepared, again, a lot of trouble. I mean, an M8 can really be a lot of trouble, in particular if you can't just quite kill it. So such other things you have to be careful about. But in this case, I am getting a pack, not sort of any messing about there. In fact, he's already going for a supply, and of course he's been holding quite a bit of the map as well. In fact, we've been sort of mostly holding equally the map. A bit of a rarity, I think, in most cases. At least in the beginning for me, but there we go. Volkswagen is taking some losses, but they're holding the round MG42 moving up. Mines laid down there to sort of protect the areas there. Volkswagen need to get out of there. Wixoog, Männer! Wixoog! Screaming in the open ground. And looks like another rifleman team, in fact, could be going down for the Thebegga. More luck, please. I'm not entirely sure what you're going on about. You're the one that ordered those men in there. You're the one that didn't retreat them in time, my good sir.
Yes,
But a BAR for the Volkswagen certainly augments their firepower. 15 Panzergrenadier division does not give up. Also, slightly fun fact, its sort of divisional insignia was a white star. Sort of like the ones the Americans used, which actually might have caused a bit of confusion. Sort of, hey Johnny, is that one of ours? No, it's, oh dear, Krauts. Although an American wouldn't have said, oh dear, but there you go. And a blitzkrieg has been chosen, assault being chosen against these riflemen. Doing a bit of damage right there. Somehow managed to constantly stun them and wound them. And some are crawling awfully fast. And dying a bit, but not quite as fast. Veterancy for the infantry on the way. More mines? No? Come on, Dane. You can do it. I know you can, because you're me. And interestingly enough, the Thebegga goes for the motor pool. I mean, usually, when you see a lot of American players, go with the BARs nowadays, they then sort of proceed to sort of try and push for the Sherman. But I suppose it might have been all those riflemen he's lost rather as of late, which might be prompting him to be a bit more cautious in that regard. Bunker up here, medic bunker again, sort of expecting most of the fighting time there. Blitzkrieg chosen. Of course, I have already chosen that, but now Stormtroopers being prepared to support. In this case, you could always consider more actual Panzergrenadiers, Volksgrenadiers, and Pioneers moving in towards the center. Pack 38 is sort of the reserve position right here. First M8 ready for the 35th Infantry Division. Pioneers moving up with the Minesweepers. Pioneers with flamethrowers also moving up. Volksgrenadiers providing covering fire. Minesweeper Pioneers getting suppressed. Riflemen getting burned alive horribly, but the Pioneers are getting shot up. Oh dear. Riflemen though taking quite some losses in the process. Stoßtruppen or Panzergrenadiers called in nicely camouflaged uniforms. Moving in. Volksgrenadiers could also be moved to support those chaps. And NES getting stopped by the Volksgrenadiers and the MG42. And it's a fact time to have a look at the Thebegga. What's he up to? No, he's active for infantry. M8 moving in. Further fighting here, but apparently not caring about that. M8 moves in against the Wehrmacht forces arrayed against his infantry. Panzerfaust gets delivered right onto the M8. While the riflemen are in fact taking quite a beating. He's in fact down very low in units, the Thebegga at this stage. Quite fewer than I thought. But then again, he was able to quite repeatedly strike back, much to my surprise. In this case, I am going to be forced to retreat. Because, well, I don't have any more munitions for Panzerfaust. My unit's getting torn up by that 50 caliber machine gun. Pack 38 rushing in here. Further troops sort of definitely moving in there, clearing up mines. Such rifle here. Need to get away, but some pretty heavy losses for the Thebegga, my goodness.
What's our plan?
And their mates sort of lurching away. Not quite happy about that. Must say I'm quite surprised. I thought we had more units, but then again, a good player can sort of mask any weakness by sort of constantly attacking in the right places, thus keeping up the pressure and elsewhere. Quickly reinforcing, more engineers to repair that. M8, we just gained veterans 1. Storm's getting reinforced, Volksgrenadiers moving in. And yes, this is going to be a slightly, brief game. My apologies, just, late Bit tired.
Germans are after one of our munitions
But
points.
I should also point out, you know, I've gotten 1,600 subscribers, absolutely amazing. So of course, I will as soon as possible, you know, once classes and all that sort of allow it, get out with a double episode or a second episode for that day. Hopefully tomorrow. Well, of course, we'll also be seeing this, of course, in this sense today, but you know, might be Friday. So slight caveat there.
This war isn't going to win.
But another M8 and artillery support, 50 caliber for this M8 as well, thus increasing the firepower around that exponentially. Pioneers caught out in the open. Pack ready though, or is it? Panzerfaust pack, and the M8 takes quite a bit of damage. Main gun destroyed, but it looks like the M8 will be making it out of there alive while the other one is getting repaired. So this one is rather going to be pulling up, and yeah, I'm going to need some repairs, mate. Medic bunker so far achieving absolutely nothing. Hadn't quite expected most of the fighting to be sort of actually shifting over to there, so that's actually a bit of my own surprise there. Also a slight note here, sort of prepared this MG position a bit further by also sort of providing sandbags for the flank. So this isn't quite as easily flanked. Stormtroopers being caught by some riflemen. We are seeing grenades on the stormtroopers. Dodging it. Thankfully. Further troops advancing up. Packs pushing up. There's assault as well. Got no second one figuring that might be the idea. The best case scenario. So moving forward while the M8s are getting repaired. Riflemen rushing in. Full screen laying down a bit of sandbags, so trying to add some caliber. That doesn't quite work out. M8's moving in. 50 caliber blazing, tearing up. The full screen here, suppressing them in fact. M8 loses its main gun again. Heavy damage. This assault did not quite go as hoped, anticipated. Veteran G2 up for infantry, but the full scanners are going to be forced out of there. And the pack rushing out of there as well, not quite fancying getting shot up. So that was rather in his advantage, and actually time for the mid-game analysis. The current situation, well, again, he's rather been swiftly able to sort of replace some of the losses engineers, get some extra riflemen, and of course the two M8s are still alive, so much thankfully for him. And he's still able to do quite a bit of damage with those. But I do still hold most of the victory points, most of the map, and I do have some veterancy up for my units, which shall certainly be pushing things slightly more in my favour than any infantry engagements with those BARs. Although I might consider moving these full scanners over here a bit out as well. A bit of barbed wire check to protect the flanks as well, sort of making movement harder. Sort of details like that can be very helpful, and again sandbags can also. I'll try to sort of fit this a bit better. So I mean, sort of there you go. I mean, my idea could be, you know, going straight for the Panzer Command instead of the Sturm Armory in this case. Getting some more veterancy, but I'd rather get some armor perhaps. In the case of the Thebegga, he needs perhaps some armor. He needs to keep his infantry alive. He needs a medic station. I think he really needs a medic station. He probably should have gotten one when he had a lot more infantry left, but you can't have everything, can you? But you know, some armor might help him, or perhaps a women's support center and a mortar. And there's certainly a few options, or perhaps a howitzer if he continues down the right-hand path of the infantry doctrine. Either way, let's return to this bit of fighting. Let us see what shall be going on. Force gunners there could also do a bit of the reinforcement, but my assault forces have suffered quite a bit right there. Although they are quickly being patched up and kitted out again. So in fact there's a bit of quiet now. Supply yard upgrades on the way for the Thebegga. That's good. That's going to help him quite a bit in the long run. Certainly also help with the infantry veterancy. M8's getting repaired by the engineers. Also good to see. Very nice to see in fact. And getting minesweepers to clear out any dastardly mines of the Panzer Grenadier division. And the Wehrmacht forces moving out once more. Pioneers, Volksgrenadiers, and Panzergrenadiers, or Stormtroopers, whatever you might call them. And looks like an assault might be pulled throughout the center. Pioneers running into MG fire. M8 rushing in to clear out that MG, but running into a surprise of its own. Pack fire right at the front. At the same time, an assault goes on through here in the center. Pack moving out to support that Panzergrenadier for the Panzergrenadiers, the Stormtroopers. Moving in to deal with that M8. Other M8 moves out. In fact, Pack constantly missing, allowing the M8 to get out with half health. And of course, that's sort of the fun bit about the Pack now. You can actually end up missing quite a bit. So the M8 can in fact get out of there. So it's more of a M8 deterrent usually than an M8 stopper now. And again, the Pack is a bit exposed. Riflemen rushing in. Madness galore. And I'm desperately trying to get that Pack out of there. False guys moving in to provide cover. Heroically interspersing themselves. And counter-assaulting, hoping to stop this angry tide of riflemen. And they actually managed to stun those riflemen, do a bit of damage. In fact, kill a few. Although then obtaining some losses themselves and will need to get out of there quickly. But not before cutting down another rifleman. And there we go. 2 men left alive though. The rest forced to make a retreat. Right past that upgraded MG. Again. And then the other rifleman rushed past those false grenadiers. And that ends with another loss. The beggar's probably not going to like that. But still, he's holding on. Despite the circumstances, getting an anti-tank gun of his own, despite the fact I currently don't actually have any armor. Interestingly enough. I probably should have gotten some much earlier. But again, that's why, you know, if you go for veterancy, you're probably not going to be getting an armor early on. Although, again, you might be able to sort of scrounge more manpower because, again, your troops won't be suffering as badly. False Grenadiers even get a bit of damage resistance, but it's not quite something compared to the Stormtroopers or Grenadiers' elite armor. And actually, a bit rare that I usually end up fighting so long and heavily in what might one be considered the opponent's half of the map, as the Wehrmacht.
57 crew, ready for orders.
But this rather felt as an irregular game for me, and at least I hope you will find it entertaining, of course. And of course, this sort of commentary. But Americans standing about, a bit unsure what to do this time. It seems like the beggar is a bit unsure as of now, and there's no casualty center either to sort of help him. And mates sort of getting out in their Pack maneuvers. And running into the Pack again. False Grenadiers advancing, Stormtroopers hanging out in the open. And there we go, engagement going on here. False Grenadiers holding off against this rather large force of riflemen. Riflemen, in fact, are slightly losing this fight against the False Grenadiers with the BAR, considering they do not have heavy cover. The False Grenadiers do. So they actually are pulling the most advantage, and more False Grenadiers are moving, in fact, in to support this. M8s rather sneakily sneak in. And move in to actually support this while the Stormtroopers are sort of trying to hunt them. And this in fact end up with forcing out. Oh, artillery causing quite some heavy losses, breaking the strong point. M8 gets hit by its own artillery. And a Panzergrenadier sorts it out. And Master Lacquer, yes. Never mind, that's a pretty silly thing to call someone. It's not even a proper noun. Or adjective, or verb, or any other sort of grammar. And basically, there we go. Excuses, excuses. Never mind, I'm not the one that drove your M8 into the artillery fire and thus exposed itself to that lovely Panzergrenadier. Sort of pioneers continuing to actually mine this area pretty heavily, making it much harder to sort of move in. And he got here in case again, sort of might have tried to sneak in through here, but it never became necessary. Interestingly enough, now he might be going for a howitzer of his own to provide some more on-map support. And there we go, the Panzer Command is ready to deliver on to the Panzergrenadier division some Panzers. Usually they would be equipped with 1 battalion of armor, although in most cases they didn't actually get any Panzers. They would usually be equipped with Sturmgeschütz, Jagdpanzer, or Hetzer or something like this. Although of course they might be lucky and actually get some Panzers. And there we go, Panzer IV ready to support the Panzergrenadier division. And trying to catch that M8. But artillery fire moves in. And now they're going to be forced to spread out my troops a bit. Or is he firing right into my base? No, he's firing right here at the MG. My goodness, that's a bit odd. You know, not firing where his actual focus is. He does get the MG, but as you might have noticed, he's not really in his position to actually support it. Panzer IV charges in. Veterans 1 already ready. I've been getting torn to bits as Volksgrenadiers, stormtroopers just fire away. One Volksgrenadier team moves in to try and clear out that anti-tank gun support, making it easier for the Panzer IV, which is taking some light damage. And the stormtroopers, no, the other Volksgrenadiers seem to have been forgotten. Assault going in, but heavy losses for the Volksgrenadiers, getting shot up by the BARs, doing quite a bit of damage. And the stormtroopers are nowhere to be seen.
Enemy unit dead.
M8 rushing in. And clearing out one Volksgrenadier team as it retreats. Panzer IV takes heavy fire from the anti-tank gun. The stormtroopers then proceed to lead the charge to actually clear it out. They probably should have been supporting the Volksgrenadiers in the first place, but they apparently decided to let the rookies see if they could handle them. The unbound grenade goes off, killing one, but they themselves lose quite a few to the pineapple grenade. That vicious bastard. Veteran 2 in fact goes up for the Panzer IV, getting a machine gunner, although that's not really why you want to get it, because the machine gunners on the Panzer IV and the Panther are pretty much rubbish. The only ones actually doing anything are the Stug 1s. Trust me on that one. But still, it's on the way to Veteran 3, which does give some armoured side skirts. But usually, for most Panzers, Veteran 1 is basically what you need. Riflemen rushing out again, still no medic station. Howitzer ready. M8 getting repaired. Anti-tank gun ready to deter any Panzer IV shenanigans. Volksgrenadier is acting as a blockade force. Volksgrenadier reinforcing. In fact, not a lot left. Assault rifles on the way, and some Knights Cross holders. Yes, indeed, Ritterkreuz. Veterans of the 15th. Veterans of Italy, of North Africa, now fighting in the forests of the Ardennes. M8 providing nice fire support there with its 50 caliber and its main gun. Volksgrenadier is a bit exposed. Riflemen charging in. And the Volksgrenadiers find themselves quickly. Oh my goodness, they get torn to bits by the BARs. The BARs have been quite powerful, in particular with veterancy. Stormtroopers now moving up, assault rifles firing. Volksgrenadiers now find themselves charged, launching an assault of their own. In this case, not quite achieving much. Panzer IV rushes in to support. And the Panzer IV actually ends up taking quite a bit of damage. Riflemen also. And the stormtroopers do find themselves all surrounded. Grenade doing quite a bit of damage, dropping behind a Panzergrenadier. Oh dear, oh no. That's the last thing you want to see happen. Hack actually managed to get the M8 though. And the Ritterkreuz rush forward. And more stormtroopers are called in to support the assault.
Heavy infantry stürmt right here. Was?
And artillery flying in against that pack, hoping to avenge, I suppose, this loss. Knights Cross charging in, and there we go. We are seeing a BAR suppressive fire on the Knights Cross, actually pretty much stopping them. The BAR suppressive fire actually being quite one of the best suppressive abilities in the game. As you might have noticed, I mean, Knights Cross are actually pretty hard to suppress, in particular with Veterans 2, which gives them actually a suppressive resistance. I mean, only 2 Wehrmacht units actually get that. I mean, some believe that Stormtroopers for Veterans 2 and Grenadiers actually get it, but they actually become easier to suppress. Volksgrenadiers, on the other hand, and Knights Cross actually become harder to suppress for Veterans 2. Slight fun fact there, another assault going in. Stormtroopers providing support fire. Once more hoping to clear out that anti-tank, and once more allowing the Panzer IV to rush in. Another bun grenade goes off, achieving once more nothing. And Riflemen trying to move in from here, but getting stopped by the MG. The fight continues right here. as the attempt at getting the anti-tank gun continues. More bomb grenades on the riflemen, and there we go. Riflemen almost obliterated, but they're actually cleared out. But the Panzergrenadier is destroyed in the process. Panzer IV moves in, keeps the Rangers a bit at bay, allowing the next wave of troops to move in. Basically, more stormtroopers and Knights Cross, Ritterkreuz.
Ja, this is heavy infantry squad.
And yes, this is heavy infantry squad. I do really love the voice actors for the stormtroopers and the officer. They're basically the same chap, but my goodness, they really have some of the best lines in the game. And he does them with quite a bit of spirit, I must say. And the Panzer IV decides to do something else. It decides to be a bit cheeky. While the main assault goes on here, it rushes into the American base. And what does it do? It goes straight for the howitzer. Rangers and riflemen trying to desperately hold back the infantry tide, while the Panzer IV goes straight for the howitzer. Knights Cross once more getting suppressed, although they do manage to do quite a few kills. Panzer IV knocking out the howitzer. And Veterancy 3 just giving it armored skirts. And there we go, the Thebegga, rather realizing the 35th has lost in the face of the 15th Panzergrenadier Division, pulls out. And there we go. What are the lessons of this game? Well, you know, but wire mines against sort of can make the difference. Veterans 1 for the MGs as the Wehrmacht, also quite handy. Also, of course, sort of the positioning of your units, barbed wire and barbed wire sandbags, you know, positions. Nice, very nice. And of course, when you're firing your artillery, you know, try to support your main efforts. Firing it off against, you know, isolated heavy machine guns might not be the sort of best attitude. And of course, veterancy does have to have a tendency in the long run of actually paying off, thus allowing you to sort of get more in the longer run as the Wehrmacht. So you might want to try to remember. I mean, I try to, but you know, I don't always succeed. So of course, that's sort of the tricky part. And of course, if you want to suppress Knights Cross soldiers, I mean, again, BAR fire does the trick quite nicely. So, nice little scene here. Knights Cross running through the devastated landscape of Germany. But there you go, I do hope you enjoyed this game. If you did, why not subscribe and tell your friends? And if you didn't, well, why not send in a replay of your own? This is ImperialDane saying cheers.